there? Are you in there? Are you in there? Are you in there? There, there, meaning there. Where are you there in all possible fields, right? And where are you there? Okay, so a family friend died today, and I'm a bit upset at this particular death. But I'm not. I'm also relieved. I'm partially relieved because of Puro314 on here describing his second daughter's death as closing like a field of connection. And anyway, like in 2011, or sorry, 2010, March 8th, uh, empirically speaking, I leapt off this roof. Now, I'm going to tell you a story that's going to contradict that, but it's to throw you off my tracks, if you will. That being said, I have to disclose a couple items of importance, like it's healing up fine. Thanks for everybody asking. It's healing up fine. The crucifixion went dandily. I even got it right there. Fit. It's healing so fast, right? It's just healing right there. Look at that. Right there. It's just healing right through that. I can't believe it. I can't believe the quickness, the fitness, and the quickness of recovery, right? And then the idea, see, and I can only show you so much, but those feet, you see those scars, the way they pin me up, the way they stroke the knife through the feet, the blessed surgeons that pinned me to the cross in this particular instantiation. Can I claim Christianism? Can I claim being an archangel by name alone, by stature alone, by self belief alone, by inflating my deficit in life appropriately enough to inflate? I don't know. I don't know what to say. Okay. In any case, okay, beyond all that, Sandra passed away today, and she is the wife of Carl. And Carl is who died, I think, on March 6th or March 7th, 2010. Shortly thereafter, I leapt off this roof. That's a toughie. I mean, for all the described and historic reasons. Even my articulation of it has become like a translation through my old articulation. I knew it. I knew it was turning 11. How did I know that? Probably a subconscious, like, collection of the data from my screen without actually pointing to it. But I have this amazing bird clock over here. This particular bird clock, see, it's hanging on the wall right up there. See the round thing? I'll try to put in the center of the frame. Right there, the oval round thing. That's a bird clock that each hour it whistles. So my stature is 6'4". I'm a Caucasianoid. I just haven't been to Mormon Independence, Missouri to claim a Jesus status. Although I fit the bill in remarkably non-dissimilar to Christ's pathway. And I know it because I say I've seen the finger of God, meaning that the totalized field of empirical evidence, like being in a video game with the persistent structure that I had previously believed was a persistent and consistent and non-violable field was broken. And I ended up eventually, after I got out of the nursing home, meditating in 2011, where I drove up and saw a red, I call it a red electric jellyfish star because it's electric. It parallels the flying spaghetti monster. If the meatball was tiny and piercingly white. Anyway, I had seen that, and there's this omen, this a symbol. There's even another word that's akin to like an omen, like a ghost of, and that's Carl's Jr. As if, even though of the three dads of this family, like the matriarchs, the two other women in this triad of families, my mom included, went to see her, but then they spent time with their two kids, Stacy and Scott, but not their middle kid, Kenny. And Kenny's not dead. Kenny has some sort of weird ostracization, and I had heard some pretty negative stories of his possible attraction to young kids, but I've never vetted that story. But it was an odd story with a coworker, and she knew them and mentioned something. In any case, I have no evidence of this other than somebody's claim of something. And even the claim was fairly ambiguous. Regardless of that, his mom, died. And my mom was, I guess, there, but talking to, and the mom that died, she was like the third, I would say, of the triad. And I say third because the families hung together really well initially, all three of us. But then somehow their family broke off. Now they live closer because all three families would go amongst these three households. But then at some point, there was an argument that I think was between Sandra and Judy, or Sandra and Richard, or Richard and Carl, or Carl and Judy, or who knows what. I don't know. But all I know is their family stopped playing cards with the trio, and then it became the Richard and Judy family. And occasionally, the Sandra Carl family would come back. And in any case, I had lit a candle to her earlier and was praying under a star, which was not aligned with the star where I saw the Jacob's ladder on the night that I jumped off the roof, nor was it the Western Star of Venus. It was an outdoor star. Anyway, I even thought I'm forgiven for my fiction, for my art. Okay, so here's the story. And I've mentioned this before. In 99, I was picked up in Lower Washington by a Boeing guy, and we flew to New York, and I wrapped camera wire around 24 posts in 4 buildings. 24, 48. The whole thing lasted all of about 3 weeks. It was just like a grinder and just go around these quadded cement things and two triangles. And in any case, then all of a sudden there's this commission report that's got this cover up, but I claim that there was something fishy on that there 9/11 day, and beyond that, in 2010 March, these thugs threw me off the roof to guarantee I shut the fuck up. I call them chainy thugs, but it's not because they're on a chain gang, but they're kind of on a chain. In any case, okay, what's next in the fairyland story time of FAHL ART, the fictional universe? Maybe I'd hang this up as I paint on this. In any case, whatever was provided out of the hyperbola amongst the families as they were hanging out together, playing together, drinking together, of which I need to probably go to the store and buy at least another 2 cans of beer. Beer kills coronavirus, right? Because beer kills shit that doesn't exist. I'm not going to say it doesn't exist. I'm just going to say, like, the numbers are shit, and it's held together dangly in one perception and quite well put together in another. This seems still nefarious in its origin. Okay, well, I was a little upset because the mic was limited tonight as far as how far I can take it away from the computer because it's a wire mic. And so let me get this some distance. That's right. Get some distance, man. Get some distance. What are you doing, bro? What are you thinking? What do you want to know, huh, bro? What is that? A line? Just a line? Just a line in the stand? Some sort of stand line? God, I have no idea if this is gonna pick me up or not. I'm just gonna put it right there, and then I gotta paint some of this slop real quick because I got this here wet ink paint and bad hip that I'm just whatever. Fuck, right? I was gonna hang up my phone and paint, but I'm not going to. Hang on. All right. My ooh, low, right. Oh my low, right. Na 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 na. Na, 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 na. That wasn't very powerful. So what I'm going to do is add some of this into this lid and paint it with another brush that I should have brought over here. The other painting's in the other room. So I got a little bit of an issue. Oh man, I don't want to complain because it's not good for the future complaining about body aches, right? You got to get over that stuff. If you're experiencing it for long durations. It's still a rough racket. Even though I should be putting on some relief here. Hang on, I'll be back shortly. It's para, not co. Para-extensive, not coextensive. It's parallel. It's not necessarily cooperative. But it should be more cooperative. Otherwise, people end up in my case where they're not breeding. If they're not breeding, they're not in the right place. They're listening to the wrong people. They're doing the wrong thing. God knows I'm a heterosexual man, and I just am damn for luck. And I figured it was because I must have been hung up about some sort of thing my folks couldn't have known of, but it was like a childhood molestation by this 14-year-old when I was 6. It wasn't that bad of a molestation, but it was bad enough to warp the minds of myself and maybe my brothers, even my older brother. He's gay, but he never, I don't know, I think he confirmed this story to my folks, but maybe he remembers it differently. And in any case, I don't know if he has. But it's so weird. My dad's nervous. Not really nervous. Slightly nervous about his sons being squalls. But pre-forgiven, just like Sandra, just like my folks, just like the triad of humans that have come before us. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to put this on again. Right here. So I'm a little bit upset though because humanity is not connecting, it's grouping, it's not coordinating enough. Get it together, see what's happening, get it together. Leave your phones in a bag when it's happening, in your car, in a bag when it's happening. Or else, da 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 da. Da 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 da. So before I heard the news that Sandra had died, today was a rare day because I was in this prayer mode and I was feeling like things were attacking me, like people were attacking me. And then I had gone to this other dimension of thinking and praying. And I re-emerged with like a justification of someone says, am I a Christian? For me to say, yes, I am a Christian, and I'm also not a Christian. But to the extent that I am a Christian is because Christ is sin forgiveful, as if Christ represents God's mercy. Not merely as a prophet, but as an activity. And this isn't to overshadow any demeaning qualities of interpretations of the Quran as people are addicted to it, or Book of Mormon, or just different translations, I suppose, of the Bible. In any case, that being said, there was this nice, it was a nice transformation. It was a very nice transformation of of kind of the soul moving through an eclipse that looked like a cat's eye or a vagina. And in the background would have been black, and that this would be the condensed soul moving through time. Like this was part of my prayer, what I was seeing. And then this woman, Madazan, who's so beautiful and attractive and fun and wild and in Wisconsin in a carnival show. She's in a carnival show in a bus. Maybe in Minnesota, I don't know. I didn't pay that much attention. And what do you know? I got pictures of other artists. Right. Anyway, point is this. That's another artist's clown work. It's a Kayla. I can't even make out her name from here. But she actually collaborated with me, and I feel bad right now for not remembering her name. So anyway, put that on there instead. Whoop. Excuse me. I don't know what to think. About this. Like it's a dual self-denial, re-empathizing, re-forgiving motif. And it's like the idea, dare I refer to it as recrimination. And that's part of the reason why, even though, I am almost guilty of not buying wine, not buying Christ drink tonight. Because somehow even Puritan Mormons have caught me, even though I've met so many hypocritical ones, in a lie. And the breeding operation is, I guess, pretty fantastic, but somehow I think I would just lose my soul. You know what I mean? And yet I'm such a latecomer. I just, I've only had so many pregnancies in this life, and it'd sure be nice if I had a wife and some kids. I would like that. I think I would like that. I think it would be amazing to try to juggle what I am now with what I could possibly be. So anyway, this. Oh, criminy. The camera's not even facing shit. Alright, let's get a load of this. So that red dot. Now here, let me just try to extend this out. Sheesh and shish kebabs and gee willikers. And what are you talking about, Willis? So it's almost like this red crystal. It probably shouldn't be dripping, but it's water. This is the problem. My technique is available for natural descent. I'm trying to describe the process of a drip painting by allowing the drips and maybe not covering them up. Anyway, the point of this particular painting, though, is even down further in this corner, in that when this gem passes through this black background, which is actually, it's actually right, like from the edge of the internal borders of where those little hair-looking lines would be, and then it goes to pitch black. So this is all pitch black, and anyway, this gets through it, and this is in my meditation, and then it goes all the way to this first red space, then blue space, and at the end a white space. And it represented a fear condition of the soul through transformation. So anyway, I was praying about was praying about these very emotional things, very emotional visual thoughts, and I suppose I'm hugely abusing them by frauding one aspect of this art piece called a video. It's not journalism, it's self-reporting journalism, if it is, whatever that means. In any case, yeah, I didn't bring over the black paint. I just didn't even bring it over because I was going to bring over white paint. And yet the crystal against the black is so dark. I can't even believe I'm not even thinking straight as a painter. Why am I not thinking straight as a painter? Possibly because I think I'm supposed to be moving into politics and into an architecture of what do you call it? Campaigning, exclusive from the FEC for president of the constitutional United States, where the corporate aspects, even though inherited from incorporations historic to England, become entirely decoupled and then reported and monitored by the government. Of course, that's already what's happening, and it's a leviathan of the corporate takeover of what public space means. You get auditors that they test the limits of the public space. Oftentimes they get their ass handed to them. Okay, so here's my new card. Thanks for peeking in. This boop 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 whoop. Really? It's upside down? There we go. There we go. Thanks for looking. Take a screenshot. All the infos are right there. Waltzing weights on that side. On this side, the Mad World of Mike FAHL. Thank you very much. On YouTube.com, both on my channel, I think, and on Logan McDonald, the creator's channel, and on IMDb, I do believe. Duxevelko, I believe you're welcome in Vampires. The removal of one's heart after one's eye is gone, giving all that one has for the life of one child, possibly one's own child. Duxevelko, I believe you're welcome in Vampire. That who gets crucified and comes back to life. That which is part of non-geometria, not geometria, of course, the Jewish tradition and the animalism of Cairo, gods, and Amelia, the instinctual of the earth rising gods is to Animalize their pantheon in the face of the Greeks, Zeus's and human anthropomorphic god positions, and then interpreted wildly even amongst the pagan spirit fairy gods of the Wick relative to natives in Mesoamerican tribe beliefs in terms of Montezuma or like a Congress of Indian tribes between 1492 and 1776. There was Indian congresses about what to do with the white man, and the white man were invited to these congresses. This is my belief. And then we, the white that took over, inherited this notion that this is what John Adams put down in writing as an understanding of the Thanksgiving of what was happening. It wasn't so much a stealing as it was a true belief in what human liberty and property meant. But then there's even huge arguments of Abraham Lincoln being a black fella, and that we were whitewashed, and that the copper coin suggests such a thing. It was so weird in this meditation, though, today, right? Because anyway, down here, this area that I got to paint white on, it was over here. It was closer to the right. It was like the destination of this gem popping through this eclipse, this cat's eye vaginal-esque looking eclipse. And then it was headed as it rotated around. It did this rotation in and of itself, right? And then on the second rotation, it goes on a different axis, and it points, right? In any case, that would be probably the axis split right there. God, that's even the damn field of vision. So the problem was this. It was like another encounter recently of being like hellbound, and it was odd because the story ends with Mars lock up and drop, which is a crypto term, cryptocurrency, DeFi term. Mars lock up and drop, but Mars the red planet. God, when this turns around, this is all red. All red. It's all red. Hey, we read it all. Not quite. Because I thought of this one. I thought, well, paint it, right? Even though, so this is the end product, but I put it here because I was maintaining something of a previous painting, because even all of this was more in my mind viewed at this angle, like straight. But I didn't want to overly underly confuse it. So this is what's coming out, which is maybe more confusing. Okay, that being said, I felt bad that I was molested by a 14-year-old girl when I was younger, and then when I was 15, this 13-year-old was coming over to show me her different bits. Of course, no sex there. I didn't lose my virginity till I was 17 with my coach's daughter, Shelley Pavlish, and her mom was 30 and she was 15. So it was already this pattern of getting knocked up when you were 15, and I was like the chosen one, and I wore rubber. The few times we got together. That being said, I also felt like, boy, I just was not that experimental in the day, so coitus was unfamiliar, and we actually suspected the other one of having had sex prior, but it turns out we were both virgins. Pulsing weights. So I'm going to turn on some Tom weights. I have cats in the house. This is me trying to open a can with a wine opener a couple times, because the click lid on that one busted off. It's crazy, and I still didn't get it open without tearing it open. Anyway, hang on. I don't know why. Whoever the one person is watching, Who is that? Truth speaker. Truth speller. Truth speller, right. So, in any case, what had happened and what goes in the right-hand corner of this whole brick and bracken is a dove. It's actually a dove, which one of my artist friends uses as his, what do you call it, like main, I'm just going to put the white on this and use this as a palette. All right. And then, in any case, I won't even pour it in the holes. Oop, it's clogged. Hey kids, let's unclog Mike's shit. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Here's a story of a hook on a bungee, and it's gonna go into this white hole. Da-da-da-da. And then the squirt will come out and go on a cat can. Da-da-da-da. And then you can feed all of them later if you get the cat can lid off. Da-da-da-da-da. And there's a story of still a lady like Michael Bublé sings of that I can still hopefully one day really fucking fall in love and have kids. Da-da-da-da. But everyone that's even maybe possible seems fucking mad. And those are the oldest ones. And then it makes me wonder, what am I thinking? Right? Humans, I mean, having a kid sounds like a great idea, but, and I don't think it's beyond me. I just, where is she? Like, what do I have to say other than what I think? Just have it like, I don't know, dashed or forgotten or recoiled from or, intergenerationally, but legally adulty thoughts about, certain romances. Like this Holly lady is a romance. And only because we dance together like gypsies. Just slightly. Like, notice how I don't move my feet much because it hurts to move my feet. That's why I need to cut this recording short. And I'm trying to remember what it was exactly that I was wanting to show the public. I was wanting to make a video, and I think it was just, it's not the vagina. The vagina was a picture I saw earlier. It was an artist's painting of a woman's vagina. I'm just optically zoomed in on it. And then Madison Con today posted this close-up of a Ferris wheel, which had, like, it was the longest, biggest carousel, and all the horses were off of it, she said. And they seemed like they were like on the side or something. And then she said, yeah, to release the horses and take the bit out of their mouths. And it was like this anti-slavery, carnival-esque witness of the clown. And unfortunately, I've attempted to predestine an idea of exceptions to clowns as far as qualifying necessarily as the wicked. If the wicked have to be struck from the earth, then ironically I'm one of them. And that's because I hang out in the wick and I smoke. And why did I smoke and drink a natty light tonight? I haven't had a cigarette in months. Well, it's because this lady died and her husband smoked. And I saw her, she drank beer rarely, but occasionally. Mostly, I think she would have some wine. Right? She had some sympathy for Catholics. And her husband, Carl, wasn't too close religiously to her. in certain regards. But she married him anyway, and it seemed like they got along to the extent that they did, but they also seemed like they were the most unquieted of the couples amongst themselves. And I don't know what that was. I mean, I hurt myself. My legs fell apart when I was walking on the back of a bedstead, and I landed right on my chode bone and just clunk and fell off, and it hurt so bad. And I ran halfway up the split entry staircase, and my mom pulled down my pants in front of the girls and was trying to examine my, where I got hurt. And I don't know. And then, And then I got caught in the 5th grade along with my friend whose sister, Stephanie. I tried to pull her pants down. Now, this was after I was 6. This was closer to 9, 8 and 9, 5th grade, pulling girls' pants down. And anyway, so this teacher came out, and she made Dustin and I, she lined up all the girls in the class, because she said, "Come on, girls." And so she left all the boys in her class, she brought out all the girls, and she lined them up in 2 lines. "Come on, girls, get in 2 even lines, about 6 feet apart." And so this whole duel of line of girls was out, and the lady somewhere close to the middle on one side said, "Now you." And I don't know what the number was on Dustin, but then on me, I don't know what to say about it either. But it was so interesting, and I forget her name all of a sudden. I probably wish I didn't. What the teacher's name was, because it was a very powerful lesson. In any case, she had Dustin and I running back and forth, parallel, but exactly in between the girls, and I could outrun Dustin. And she was just yelling, and she said something like, "If I ever catch either one of you ever trying to pull down another girl's pants, I'll pull your pants down in front of the whole school." Anyway, so I thought, God, I must have this complex. Plus, when you grow up around Mormons and you're not a Mormon and they're busy telling you they got the truth and they got a monopoly on truth, and there's more of them than there are of you, and there's not the internet at the time, you don't have, like, you have non-dislocated missing information, right? Meaning the knowledge of how other people worked in different locations was not as known then as it is now, in terms of, like, having access to people in different locales around the world through different mediums, Discord and messengers and telegrams and the whatnot. In any case, I also know that I must sound like a boomer. So, okay, so I know, it's a big vaginal-esque looking field, but imagine this coming through it, right? But where it's going is actually right down here. And so, unfortunately, I put that way down there because I wanted to retain this octopus legs, and yet I had turned this eclipse, from which, when one dies, one falls through, towards something of a fear, which is really the translation into death, and of which then you travel through fear, submission, then retort to bravery, and blue, and then white, and souls then are forgiven. Stay alive as long as you can. Life takes you. You don't take your life, and you're better off not taking anyone else's. And if you can approximate being vegan, go against some industrial farm and whatnot, I highly encourage it. Right? Meaning, like, leave the worst violent imprint off your soul. What do you see my double chin? Okay, so still, once again, this here painting has this corner, and that item is shooting through, but all this white space between the orangutan on the right, meditating as one matriarch, humanoid, and another are about the children of the woman that passed. Anyway, so I had a dream, a meditation, like a waking dream, through this prayer, and then I was paranoid that I was, like I had developed a closed loop such that the center was me and I was the world's prey, if you will. And it becomes a fixation of possible logical possibility based on symbol sets or semantic meanings, which one should ultimately, if one is haunted, evade those haunted spaces. Like, don't totally overly investigate the super haunted until you've been around the block. That's my suggestion. I wasn't ready for it. In any case, yeah, Prince of Prince. Prince of Prince. Those are not bugs, ladies and gentlemen. Those are not bugs. Okay, so I feel dumb right now, so I should probably just end this. It's like it became overly obtuse. And really, all I was trying to do was there was this sense not only of freedom but of connection with her husband who had passed in my mind, and this mirrored Pierrot's sentiments and notion of his second daughter's death, like parenthetically encapsulating and closing a pair unit indefinitely and properly. And so that was the matriarch and the patriarch that had passed in that quad, and the other quad, just the patriarch Richard had passed, and Judy, she's still around because she went there with my mom and my dad. I don't know where he was relative to any of that, but I think he probably wasn't present according to the abductive information or the abduction that I'm projecting on the information that I have now, meaning a bad lot of information where there's huge possible gaps in probability erroring. I hate the idea this guy argued. He's like, any conceptual 100% space can be mapped with a probability. And I thought, well, that's not true, right? Because some of these spaces have mutating motions. Because right in my head, this vision is this thing, this painting is a vision. Anyway, I better just relax and keep painting, quit worrying. Because it's got to be, every breath you take, every move you make, God's watching you, God's guiding you. You can be denying him, but anyway, there was this sense that was Sandy dying, right? That this item shooting out of here was her soul. So this would have been a black. It was going this way. And instead of this octopus tentacles, it was just rotating towards something that looked like red fire, like entering into hell. But it was fire, not hell. They went into it, they went out of it into the blue, and they breathed. That being said, I don't care what anyone thinks, because I got my moves, and they may have come from the Natki Chinks. Does that not sound racy? Very racy. I think they could take it. America is the melting pot. Salt Lake has huge amounts of growth. Very large amount of multicultural grouping here. And Google has got its fiber laid here. It's a very interesting town to be in, even if things become possibly paranoid. It's not like I haven't recovered already from death, right? So regardless of what you guys think, even my admission that whatever you're thinking must be wrong, just imagine what the theory of gaslighting actually looks like. And then imagine that 90%, maybe 80%, or 79% of what I'm telling you is factual at any given time. And then a lot of it is also 100% factual. Since you logged in, I'm just nervous, not because of the kittens. The mom can jump in at any time. There's 3 new kittens. It was like this idea. We're trying to grow a cat farm. And I was like, do I start selling kittens off? And I think, well, shit, maybe I have to. I can't hold them all. I can't even give them away. Anyway, you guys will have to excuse me, but not before I start a little tune, right, for you. And let you guys listen to it while I go here and urinate. Man. Stinks, minks, slinky dinks with kinky finks, pinks, minks, and slink dinks. Dirty thanks, drinks, winks, kinks, and finks, and we can drink it, the clinks, right? I was going to fill this bucket up, so I was going to, and there, that's that. And here we go, so blah, blah, blah. 3 and mother 2 and mother 1 and some are done. Kitties, mew mew. 3, 2, 1. So here it is on this hand and this bless you, bless everybody. So this shall be only 60 seconds long, because why else? So you do the reading and pause it here if you will, and why not? Amen. Stinks, minks, slinky dinks with kinky finks, pinks, minks, and slink dinks. Dirty thanks, drinks, winks, kinks, and finks, and we can drink it, the clinks, right? I was going to fill this bucket up, so I was going to, and there, that's that. And here we go, so blah, blah, blah. 3 and mother 2 and mother 1 and some are done. Kitties, mew mew. 3, 2, 1. So here it is on this hand and this bless you, bless everybody. So this This shall be only 60 seconds long, because why else? So you do the reading and pause it here if you will, and why not, why not, why not? Amen. Winks, dinks, minks, slinky dinks with kinky finks, pinks, minks, and slink dinks. Don't you think? Drinks, winks, kinks, and finks, and we can drink it, the clinks, right? I was going to fill this bucket up, so I'm going to, and that's that. And here we go, so blah, 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 doop, da, boop, bop, bop, 3, and mother 2, and mother 1, and so I'm done. Kitties, meow, meow. 3, 2. Okay, in any case, sorry to overburden it and multiplay it. I just thought it had build up and resonance, and it was showing like this energy level of how I'm occupying my time locally instead of driving to, like, also Mars lock up and drop meant for me to pack up and get, but I was supposed to lock up, hook up, meet up, be with my soulmate by now. And then later on the idea, like, you can't hurry love, you just have to wait, love don't come easy, days a game of give and take. But for me, it would be like a reissuance on only dead love. Like, I still have not bonded once again with the next best woman of my dreams, other than Selma. And you know, Christy was interesting, and they're all amazing in their own way. Jenny and Erica and Sherry from the old days. And, in any case, I don't know. Like I said, this my show is a little bit dumb, but before I close down shop, if I do close down shop, other than showing you guys my natty light can, my cat food, my drum on a blessed sheet of white, a big drum and a big painting, and that clock up close maybe. Then over there is this huge painting, but that's about all the further I can get you on that, because my computer's over here. And I'm just, gonna fight trying to move it. Or maybe I just should move it. Like, why not? Right? What am I harming by doing that? Anyway, so somehow I just felt so blessed. Even when my mom was telling me this, it was like, God, I'm happy. That if somebody had to outlive someone else, that you outlived her. And my mom kind of thought that was funny and agreed, and said, yeah. So and yet there's always this weirdness of like trying to accept, or accept if one dies, quote unquote, or how they approximate their death. And so that's always a peculiar issue. Oh, can I keep filling myself from such this nefarious looking face? Like hot John swing from spreakin, sproken, broken. Breakin, bracken, brickin, bracken, bracken. Okay, just to give you guys some of my interesting counter space interview, in case you needed it to know why I am the way that I am. Also, I will say the perimeter of this wire is the limit of this space until I decide to move it. I still don't know what to say. Those are just some artists that have collected. Let's go over here and show you guys a couple while I drink some of this woooh. Anyway, so this particular photographer showed up at kind of an absence. It was a consecrated time of my life, and there was this huge spread. It was shortly thereafter, I broke up with my love, Carrie. And someone that I believe, God, where did I meet this guy? Maybe it was in Wyoming. I love your art, Mike. Chicago Mike. Anyway, and so that was interesting. And then there's this guy, Native American. Any which way except you want it this way, because that's where the bottom of the hung hide would fall if the top is the orientation. I mean, I guess you could say it's that way, but it'd have to be like mounted to glass. So in any case, it is oriented this way, which is a blessed orientation of an oracle or a pentacle where only the dots and missing even the bottom dot, right? There's only 5 extensions, 5 dots showing the external perimeter also, even though the bottom 2 are not lined up the way the top 2 are. Top 2, top, bottom 3. It's very interesting. In any case, and then there's that, right? It's Native American stretch skin pulled together a triangle in a hard light blue with something winged that appeared almost primitive but common, not dissimilar to certain carvings, at least I suppose, more seen in iterations of Nazi buildings. But I do believe in Egypt there is something that looks similar to that. As far as the circle with the triangle, possibly not so much. But there was definitely magical, historic, ancient knowledge transfer that is an archaeology of one's intellect and autodidactic soul as it engages like a brutal onslaught of ancient symbolics that ideographically are probably problematic. So as far as people that study ancient Egyptian, because there is no non-ancient Egyptian, Emily Walsh, this fella here, it's a really nice picture. See, there's more. What do you see that bluebird right there? Whole other artist's work, but a bluebird with the red blood and the worship of Ami, the ruby, Ami, Ot. Fight Club, Indian style, primitive style, red style, don't back down style. Some sort of sub-transgendered, I can't believe it's happening. Dislocation, clown face, interesting. Sherry Quinn Harrison, 2021. Okay, and then O's piece. This just has to be kind of an ode to people whose arts I collect, but I've had to take off my wall recently. This particular piece is O's. Was the first Steve-O before Steve-O was Steve-O. And that was his like starry sky cactus, prickly, like you can't get too close, but look at the beautiful smelly flowers that it's blossoming each tine, mimicking the stars in amount, but still falling shy, and hence the flowers open, bloom, open, and what do you call it? Scope the sky, if you will. In any case, that's an O, old school O. That was a long time ago, probably late 90s. I'll just let you guys figure this one out. I don't know what to say on it. Pause the video if you want. It says on the back, loop-de-loo, bayway, bee tree. Doesn't quite say that. Anyway, difficult piece. Jonas Akers trying to get the blockhead outside or under this ice or transparent pillar when its internal heart is subject to absence. Acrylic painted on oil. Signed by Jonas Akers. Col Atencio. And he mimics my jump with a time lapse of being able to snowboard off of a roof onto the ground where the enclosure looks like it has a dead end, but not, because it pops right out, like it lands and goes outside, as if it was possibly filmed in several shots put together for sake of power. But then again, the kids these days. This is done by my goddaughter Lydia, who I went to see. Sorry, not Lydia, Olivia. Lydia is the daughter that I gave up my career for, which is a friend's sister's daughter, Olivia, of which I'm not only proud, but I'm ultimately overly disappointed in myself, because I don't think my mere approximation caused the case ultimately to go in your sister's favor. I felt inert to it, and anyway, Lydia, if you see this, maybe you can look up The Wizard 10, Lydia. And Olivia, thank you for the nice art, and it was good to see you even playing Minecraft while your mom rages against men and the patriarchy in Seattle. I encouraged her to give birth to you. We did. And this, Kevin, the guy, the artist, I just want to call him Ben. I wrote it like Breakthrough 2003. And I was alongside, I think his name's Damon. It is Damon. He was this black fella and just wore glasses. He was like this slappier, easygoing, waved his arms behind his back, kind of. Even though there was another fella, looked like Puerto Rican, Africana. He definitely waved his arms behind his back like Popeye style. But this other guy, he was kind of was mirrored off of this other guy that didn't paint this, that used to do portraiture on Venice Beach, black fella, and God, I really wish I remember his name. But I do remember Jackson Collins, black fella, who got me started on Venice. And God, I had lost the Jackson Collin art that I had, but he's the guy that turned me on. And then I turned Phoenix Falcon on, went wink wink, a pseudonym. Look at that, Damien. In any case, it's a breakthrough, and it was kind of like this spiritual notion that whatever I do and don't do in life is true, is reflective of the whole, but first reflective of those that are around that person. And I had generated my most authentic, not scapegoating, of him assisting me on absenting myself from a video game career when I was well ahead of everyone in art and illustration, and just kind of this buoyant life, and the influence of this guy coming back a few years after college, and him having gone to Seattle and telling me the predicament with his sister and their kid, because there were some kind of like allegations about the dad not, if the child cried, not picking up the child, keeping the mom when she still had child in a chair for like 12, 15 hours at a time until she'd pass down, pass out, and piss herself, shit herself. And apparently this really, really harsh story concerning the situation. And it's so interesting to me that I had written a justification. Like I realized that my mere approximation to that place, because the guy had convinced me to go by saying, if you can get a job making video games here, you can certainly get the job up in Seattle. It's like the computer capital of the world. And I had already lived up there before him, which is also part of the reason why I think he wanted me to move up there again. It was this strong opinion. I overrode my own life because somehow I thought it was a justifiable request. But then I realized that everything fell in her favor when I was only in like 100-mile approximation, really, of the situation, because I was in Seattle and they were in Bellingham. And he retorted that he had asked me to move to Bellingham, but I insisted on moving to Seattle. And I reminded him that he said that Seattle was that capital. But anyway, I became a hardwood floorsman. And I went from trained artist, grew up on games, inside airbrush illustrator, learned a lot, created some really excellent, beautiful paintings in my college time, my post-college time. And then I was offered in like 1998 to begin a project that would start in November. And all of this guy showing up, Scott, to bring me up to Bellingham to help his sister Misty get her daughter. She ended up kidnapping the daughter. There was an FBI hunt for her. The brother, I suppose, acted as a bit of a liaison, and maybe my approximation somehow quantumly favored them. But in any case, I had lost my window to enter the game making field way on, and it was so damaging on my soul. But as things turned out, then I met the woman I should have married, Carrie. But I ended up fucking taking like one of the most beautiful relationships I had and just tracking it like a snake, the shape of a snake wrapped around one. And I think I just had too many liberal allowances of my past entailments into that relationship that it just snapped. And yet she was like really supposed to be my wife and the baby mama and the woman that I married, but I didn't. But she's the one that I saw the orb with over here. And maybe I'll quickly reenact that. And then I was sitting in this area of the living room, right? And roughly maybe a hat, like 6 inches more of that wall would be representative of the back of a couch. Well, it's just a makeshift, wood and foam wall with like a bookshelf on the other side, right? And anyway, but somewhere about 6 inches beyond where the tile meets the carpet going towards my makeshift wall was a golden orb that came moving across, and it was white golden, like it was just glowing, just the most pure glow. And I saw it there, and it paused, and boom, my girlfriend was standing right where I was standing. She was looking up here, and she closed the cabinet and turned and fell on her knees, boom, right here next to me. And she said, "Did you just see that?" And the orb had gone, paused, and then it went through the wall, right? Boink. And she said, and I said, an orb, and she said, yeah, and we flipped our lids. And then 20 minutes later, we had a phone. Phones were plugged in on a little thing here, and I had a hot dog on a red wall with orange wall with a yellow stripe, and it was beautiful. And this probably should have been mortgaged with Carrie, but God, I was such a selfish, self-protected ass. I couldn't even give away my person to somebody, even to try to have kids. And that's my own hang up. And I was telling people, like, you know what? I'm a faggot, but I'm not homosexual, right? Because I hung around gay people. I know how to act like a faggot if I want. And everyone's watched Queen. So whatever the fuck, right? In any case, Mama Bear over there, Mama Kitty, Mama Kitten, old Mama. At least 2 litters since I've been around. And my cat's screwing and knocking her up. And in any case, Mike, if you see this later on, like if this video is merely therapy for yourself and not information for others, well, at least know that you are still walking, even though you got some hip pain and some foot pain, and that you were treating it with alcohol and apparently a cannabis vape, and that you have succeeded in rationalizing yourself from a broken mental state, which, although there may have been precursors in 91, but now it's relative to a drug issue. In this particular issue, boy, oh boy, it was not a drug related decision, and it seemed like an error that then split my mind and spilled reasonability out. And then after losing my mind, I rejankified reason. Just gets thrown back together after it's been exploded. It's post contradiction allowance, because there's more contradictory space than there is true space, just like there's more falsifiability in the universe than there is truth. Like there's more wrongness than there is truth. I mean, if you think truth is distributed in God's eyes and there is no falsity, that's fine. But the counterfactual, conceivable, like Platonic-esque realm, the eidetic realm of conversational reference, which this conversation is pointing to this idea, right? In any case, so the cool thing about what had gone on during this morning prayer, that felt so emotional and even paranoid, and then it burst into this image, and there was this submission and a re-upping on the name Jesus as a salvationable prophet if you're Islamic, but a salvational son if you're Christian, but then necessarily tripart, as if there must be a fusion of different God types. But between the orb and the red jellyfish or spaghetti monster, electric spaghetti monster in Montana, that I saw, and the orb, they seem like they're different species in an ocean, possibly of the unseen and rarely seen physical isms that appeared to be energetic in form but not material, like lightning. But with in one case, the red star was, you can go and look for the allegory of an archangel at MikeFail.com, allegory of an angel at MikeFail.com. And in the background, you'll see this red jellyfish-esque star with a mountainside on one side and water on the other. And that was like a layered series of mental animalic reinterpretations of how to free the soul of the woman that I lost, and that it required my upper person, my spirit, to kill a clown through America while a clown drops a grenade in front of a guy standing on the snake, the Jim Morrison Ride the Snake right at 7 miles, and then a rabbit running in front of the snake, then with the little guys on it, and then a cat running after it, right? And so then all these cats around me, and I'm very catty now. I'd add to gay affectation, knowing women speak, being as I have no sisters, and pulled down girls' pants when I was younger, after I was molested when I was younger, and after I saw the movie Dressed to Kill, where it was like a modern 70s version, kind of like of the Alfred Hitchcock. God, what was that Alfred Hitchcock? Psycho. Shit, I did a painting on it. Psycho. Where the woman is being killed in the shower, but by a deranged hotel owner dressed as his own grandma or his imaginary mom, maybe like an adopted psychopathic kid, whatever this creation is of Alfred Hitchcock that became Psycho. Dressed to Kill also had a blonde woman in the shower being killed scene, and I remember seeing that the same year that I was molested at 6. But it's so weird because I didn't, it's just weird that bodily contact of a sexual nature, even prior to being able to have a boner, was so kind of rated upon me. So to the extent that my soul had preordained this life, I had some sort of thing that happened a couple times with that lady. And then this other babysitter used to make us strip down and throw our clothes outside and make us run outside. And she'd strip down into bra and panties and show a boob. Very sexualized. And anyway, and then later on, like 15 years later, I'm in my 20s, and I find out this lady that used to babysit me, that was all over me a couple times, she was bowling with my folks on a bowling league. And so I reiterated this story to my folks, and they didn't know what to say, and I didn't know what to say either, because it was like, wow, that's bygones and shit. She was 14. I don't think she had any rites of passage, and probably not good guidance. And I don't know what that was, though. But whatever it was, just like every event in life, it shapes your life. And this is why we're all different in experience, and we're all the same in that we have a mother tongue and a basic common grammar. And those that speak English as a second language at least enter the basic discourse, perhaps not the most nuanced English speaking or Americana discourse that permeates most movies, media, and probably online personages. But I also thought, sheesh, I have to learn Chinese and Spanish and Hindi and everything else. And I'm like, dude, is there even time to do any of this? Because I thought, don't I have to solve the genocode and study CRISPR and solve so no one dies, and do all of Christ's regenerative work as if I'm a mimic, like a master mimic, like trying to compliment him. I thought, well, yeah, I can do my non-fictional, fiction-esque crucifixion evidence and show up in Missouri, and perhaps I will. All I was saying, though, about this woman is that at the end, after even fear of the transfiguration of the soul after death, in my mind, after I found out that she had died, it had dawned on me in reverse time that I was having a meditation that was mirroring her experience, and that this resembled kind of this afterlife that then was a twist of her soul with the idea of her going to Mars, like the red planet. And she was also closed back with her husband in some sort of like propriety of charm that I was like remembering from my youth, when they did get along, when their marriage did seem to work, and everyone was at interplay, like social interplay. I think they were the first family where the parents were a little less constrictive about the information they were sharing with the group, and then something became like maybe stupidly commented on or assumed. And yeah, Judy and Sandra did get in an argument about something. I do remember that. My mom was very good about not getting into arguments with anybody until a couple years after Richard had died. I don't know why I'm telling you guys all this. But my mom has a way of giving advice, right? And so when Judy was still married to Richard and Richard was alive, my mom could give advice like how maybe to comfort him, or maybe go to a hospital, or get a lawyer, or get yourself set up X, Y, and Z. My mom was very philanthropic, but after Richard died, my mom was giving advice to Judy, and Judy was just beyond herself at the fact that my mom didn't know what it was like to lose her spouse, and still doesn't. And I'm so happy about that. And that dislocation in my mind seemed as if Judy didn't no longer wanted my mom to give her mom or her advisements, because there was just a dimension of absence that my mom didn't know, was seemingly naive to in my thought. And then my brother snapped on Judy when Judy told him to be quiet about something or another, but I don't know what it was. And my brother just snapped on her, lost his shit. And after that, Judy had distanced herself. And my brother said something like, "I don't give a shit if your husband died. Like, this is fucking right." And he just laid into her, but I don't remember currently the words. Anyway, I'm wondering about the very direction of my soul, right? As a non-bred human, when human occupation of time is on their kids, and their vocation is on their hobby in front of their kids, and their profession is how they make their damn money. Vocation, occupation, profession. And Americana's economic structure itself, as I knew it, as it was embedded as a persistence in me, has already been mutated, generalized, and confiscated and redistributed. And people have been made deprivative, right? Deprivating the people and then supplying the people. And those that live at the bottom, like myself, I think we're pretty adaptive. By the bottom, I mean by the bottom of the state, like out of our goddamn minds with broken bodily possibilities, such that re-entering into society is absolutely not only inane, it's counter and antithetical to one's best interests as a libertarian human. And quite frankly, the things that crossing and seeing things from the inner dimension allowed false negatives to occur, where when I was attempting to demonstrate that I could dive onto my belly onto a flat cement but business carpeted floor. What I just did, I just dived on it. And I kept diving on it. And I had already had my feet healed. And even to this day, like earlier today, I was like standing at one point and I thought, my feet feel numb. I'm not in pain. But God, I was in pain all before and then all now in the hip. And there's just the idea, right, of this. Am I sinking towards a hell? Or am I just sinking towards death and whatever's mirrored into the bond, the supposed beyond, the identity of whatever the bond might be? I don't know. But 20 minutes later, after we saw the orb, she got a phone call from her dad saying her granddad had died. So that was 2007. Then I jump off a roof 2 days after in 2010, breaking myself up. And today, September 24th, Sandra Calder, one of my tripart matriarchs of that, unlike Donna and tangentially Natalie and some of the other neighbor women, Janice Garner, and as far as women that my mom had interacted with more than probably 3 or 4 times. But my mom was kind of a recluse because we were the non-Mormons, so the Mormons would trot by on Sundays, and my brother and I would be out like mowing the lawn, or playing jarts, or throwing the baseball, or messing around with the dog, or putting out the sprinkler. And the Mormon kids would come back, and the kids were all done up. And they had slacks on in the middle of summer, and they were putting up their tie, and they were coming in this big old gang right by us. Big old gang, like, I don't know, all neighborhood Mormon guys were, I don't know, they numbered heavily. So maybe maximum, I'm just trying to think of that particular day, I think maybe a gaggle of 10 Mormons come by, and all kids, but they're going on about how they have the truth, how they have the true church, and they know their church is true. And so there was this rudimentary notion that I didn't have access to truth if I wasn't one of them, because they had truth. They claimed truth as a group, as an internal agreement amongst themselves, where I and my family and anyone that was not one of their Mormon tribe had zero access to truth because they have a claim on it. And if we did have a claim on it, it was based on their religion. In any case, so I was pretty young then. And then finally, at the age of 30, I ended up actually reading the Book of Mormon because I had broke my back after the second abortion, coming back from LA trying to stop my girlfriend, Tracy Bray, who Das Pook might be with this new Dan Bray character, who claims he doesn't know you, but spiritually, if he had known the Bray family and the atrocities I committed against the daughter by getting a pixie woman pregnant and having her grant an abortion to herself, where I guilted myself for slowing down to get some money from art sales I had made in LA. And I was minutes late getting to Utah, and I spent more minutes trying to get the money. Even though I pedaled to the metal, because I did that, I showed up late, and it went against the nature of my very soul. She'd committed the second abortion of her kids. She was the only woman that I got pregnant, as far as I know, with a hopeful of fertile myrtle. Her name wasn't her nickname. Her self-nickname was I'm a fertile myrtle. And man, we did have good sex. And then she vanished. And had, this was before I met Carrie, but while I was dating Masha, and I was still kind of dating Sherry. And so when Carrie did show up, I told her, I said, well, look, we can date, but if any of my ex-girlfriends want to get with me, they have dibs on me. And I told her the 3 that were included in this, and she said, okay, as long as you don't break up with me. And for 3.5 years, I went out with Carrie, and I systematically first screwed Sherry, then screwed Masha, then screwed Monica. And Carrie went through it all, and then I went to New York and left Carrie here. And then when I came back, she had moved out, and this is all after the orb, and it felt like I was totally disgracing our relationship, and in one way I was. And Carrie had gotten larger, but I kind of was weird. Like, she pinned it on being large, but I didn't pin it on that. I actually, like, I was caught in a trap that where there was no way out because I love her too much, baby. Like, in order to break this bad cycle, I thought I have to break our relationship for at least 72 hours and then try to come back to it. But her agreement with me was, you cannot break up with me. But in order to restart, I took the chance, and I was wrong. That was in 2008. About 1.5 years after the orb. And then I missed her so much. God, I never missed anyone in my life so much. And then I cracked. My mind cracked. And I even chased looking for this woman, seriously, like doing anything I could to figure out where she was to get her back. And I couldn't find her. And I ended up finding her mom in her mom's workplace. And her mom was a high school teacher. So I went knocking on the door of her mom's high school. And she came out of the room teaching English to these high schoolers, advanced AP English, and told me that Carrie was very happily married and in love, and that's just the honest truth of the matter. And at that point, I stopped chasing her, and I wrote her, and she wrote to me after that, and she said, Mike, this cannot happen. You cannot barge into my mom's work and demand to see me. And I thought, if I did, she would probably call the cops and file a restraining order against me or something. But in any case, after talking to her mom and getting that response from Carrie, after Carrie did get married, and I was like, well, this is the end of our possible breeding, right? We're like in our mid 30s, late 30s. I'm a few years older than Carrie, and it was just awful to break up with a woman that I love and have it break with no recovery available. And then since then, having this comparative notion uplifted after a while, and a sense of complete forgiveness, complete resolve, complete acceptance of a post-body break, complete post-body, what do you call it? Humility, bodily health, humility. Like, under my current state, physiologically, I just feel humiliated, in pain. And it's unfortunately my own doing, being as I did, in fact, for reasons I can't convince anyone of, leap off a 2-story roof onto my feet and broke my spine a 3rd time in life. And anyway, go watch The Mad World of Mike FAHL on YouTube. I don't think it'll be going down. And it's weird to hold the one's guns through one's own life and not try to change one's identity or name, or I guess you can have a handle here and there, but I don't know. It's like a mythos, history of symbolic word structure, self choices and self reflection and self cures and self reiterations. And in any case, even after this kind of ruby, this brown-esque ruby that's shot well beyond this cosmic eye hole closing feminine corridor, if you will, the ruby turns around and it sees its greatest fears, and it approximates those greatest fears, and it keeps approximating them, and then it realizes the fiction of one's epistemologic mind, the mere fact that your mind has a built-in epistemology based on its episteme. So your telos is your conception of your end, or your eschatology is your destination of your soul. And so this is my philosophical indexing mirror, once again. And God, I really like painting this particular piece because the little discs are chosen that every argument is broken amongst triads of ontology, epistemology, phenomenology, the law of exclude middle, the law of non-contradiction, the law of identity, index, symbol, icon, sign, signified, referent, induction, abduction, deduction, justifying true belief. There is a quad on here of ethos, pathos, logos, mythos. And then back to a triad of coherence, correspondence, and agreement, formal, informal, and unformal. There's also tertiary ones of the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, the Self, the Other, and the Herd. Known knowns, unknown unknowns, and known unknowns. And the Self, the Herd, and the Other once again. In any case, whoever the one person is, thanks for listening. It's like I'm late to the party too often, so I'm painting a snail. But my body is in fact broken. I only have 25 minutes to go get some more liquid painkiller, so I'm going to go do it and say cheerio to you all, and to all a good night. Oh, sorry, he asked me to play some drums apparently, but it's 12:30, right? And even though I could go like, oh man, to blessed heart, Sandra, may your soul, as I know, rests in peace as you settle into the white and dove-like domain. God bless you. You did well while here, and it was appreciated to have lived part and parcel under an umbrella of your person, and to know you civilly, and that you and Carl are a unit. I do wonder of a possible 3-day echo return, but I think you've already passed beyond based on what I imagined prior to entering the car. Very emotional, very daring, very brave, and then having my mom call and mention that you had passed just a little bit ago, and talking with her. But that being said, namaste. I love you people who I know. I'm sorry I'm reading all this. And right now, I just cherry picked through that, and I'm going to end the broadcast now. Thanks, guys. And, any comments, keep them to yourself. Wink, wink.